Hello everyone. So in this video, I'm going to be covering 5 JavaScript string methods that you need to know if you are just getting started learning to code and learning JavaScript as a beginner. Now, you should definitely follow along with me if you are just learning to code because I'm going to be walking you through different examples to actually show you how these methods work. So you can type along with me by going to a website called jsbin.com. That's jsbin.com. And I'm going to have all of the links and resources below in the description. So make sure that you check that as well. When I have resources with free tutorials, practice problems, and even practice projects to help you start learning coding basics. And if you don't know, my name is TJ, and I'm a self-taught software engineer that helps beginners like yourself learn to code. So check the description below to get resources to help you to get started on your coding journey. Now, make sure you follow along in this video. All right, so let's go. So today, I'm going to be using JSBin to write the code and to show you all of these different methods. So if you want to follow along with me, go to jsbin.com. So that's just jsbin.com. And again, I'm going to put all these links in the description of the video. So just click there and you'll find this link. All right. And now when you get there, make sure that you click on the JavaScript tab and the console tab. These are the only two tabs that I'm going to be using in this video, all right? So let's go. So this is my example string, and I'm going to be teaching you about these JavaScript string methods and using this string as an example string to show you how all of these different methods work, all right? So the first method that you have to know if you want to become a JavaScript developer or really just a software engineer when it comes to dealing with JavaScript and strings in general, the first method is the length method, .length, right? So let me open up a new tab and I'm going to look up JavaScript string .length. And this is something that you should be doing as well, right? So make sure that you're following along with me on this. So if you look up the JavaScript length method, right? If you scroll down and you go to W3 schools on here, right? The JavaScript length property returns the length of a string. Simply put, it tells you how many characters are in a string. So this is the syntax, and syntax tells you how to use the method, right? So you basically call .length on a string object, right? So I'm going to do that here. So I already have a string, and let me console log example string .length, and this should now tell us how many characters are in this string. So I'm going to click this and it says 14, right? So and mind you, .length counts the empty spaces. Do you see this like empty space here? JavaScript counts this, right? So here, I'm going to remove this, and this should now return what? 12, right? So here, what is the length of an empty string? What do you think this is? If I click run, 0. All right, so .length tells you how many characters are in a string, including empty spaces, right? So a space counts as a character. So if I just have a string with a space in it, this is going to return a length of 1. You see that? So .length, all right, this is a very important method that you are going to be using often as a software engineer, especially as a JavaScript developer. So make sure that you understand how this method works. All right, so the second JavaScript string method that you have to know is the includes method, right? The JavaScript string includes method. This method lets you know if a string includes some kind of string that you are searching for, right? So let's say that I want to check to see, does this string include the word code, right? That's where I would use the includes method. But first, let me just open up a new tab and let me search up JavaScript string includes. And I'm going to go to the W3 schools example as well and just kind of look up how this method works, right? So the includes method returns true if a string contains another specified string. So like in this example up here, right, when they have a text variable, hello world, welcome to the universe. And they're trying to see, does this text include the word world, right? Remember, this method returns a Boolean value. Boolean means that it returns true or false, right? It lets you know true or false. Does this method include what you are looking for, right? And keep in mind here, the includes method is case sensitive, and this is the syntax. The way that you use the JavaScript includes method is by having a string, and you call dot includes on it, and you pass it the search value that you wanted to search in that original string. All right. This is going to be the way that you typically use it, because you see the first parameter here, which is the search value, is required. And the search value is, the string that you actually want to search for. This is optional. This is not typically, used. So don't even really worry about this right now. But just understand how to use the includes method at the very base value. And you see, remember here, the return value is a Boolean. True if the string contains the value, otherwise false. So I'm going to show you how that works here, right? So in my example, let's say that I want to see, does this string includes code? It should return true for us, right? Boom, it returns true. But remember that it's case sensitive. So if I uppercase this C, do you think this includes method is still gonna return true? Let's see. It returns false, right? So the way that you will often kind of make your strings case insensitive is by lowercasing everything, right? So you can call .to lowercase. Ooh, I put loser case. Jesus. To lowercase, and this is a method here, and I'm gonna call to lowercase on this as well. Let me make sure that I have all my closing tags. Okay, I do. Yeah, so first I'm gonna lowercase everything here, right? So let's say that this was, capital, this is capital, and this is capital. This is now gonna lowercase everything in this string, right? It's gonna make this T lowercase, this C lowercase. That's what this method is gonna do. So now on this string, right, I'm trying to check to see, does my example string, does it include the word code? But I want to make it case insensitive. So I'm calling to lowercase here as well, just for the sake of this example. So now when I run it, it returns true. All right. So that's how you can make your strings case insensitive anytime that you have to use the includes method or something, right? So that's how the includes method works, right? It basically returns true or false to let you know, does the string that you are searching on, that you're calling includes on, does it contain whatever string that you're trying to find? True or false, right? Yes or no, okay? And that's it. Now let's move on to the third JavaScript string method that you have to know, and that is the slice method, right? The slice method. So let's look up the JavaScript slice method, and let's find the W3 schools examples, and we are going to be looking up the string, right? So JavaScript string slice method. Make sure that you look up the slice method on the string, because the array object has this method as well. So if we click on the slice method here, and let's just kind of read how it works. The slice method extracts a part of the string, right? And it returns the extracted part in a new string. It doesn't change the original string. And in terms of syntax, right? So you always want to look at the syntax of a method to help you to understand how to use that method. So syntax is, how do we use it, right? So you call slice on a string. And when you call slice, you have to tell it where to start slicing from. So by slice, let's say that you have a string, up here, and you have two words. Let's say that you only want to return this first word or something like that. You can cut and return a small part of that string. It'll probably be a lot easier if I show you how this works, right? So Let me remove all this code from my last example. And let's look at how the slice method works, right? So if I call dot slice and I want to, let's just do from 0 to 1. Now keep in mind, slice takes an index in code, in programming, whether it's JavaScript, Ruby, whatever programming language that you're doing, you know, when we're talking about the index is called zero-based index. That means you start counting at 0. That means the position, the index of the first item is at index 0, position 0, right? So this L is at index position 0. That's where it starts. So I'm going to hit clear. If I hit run here, you see it only returns this one thing. Let's say that I put this at 4, right? Because if I count, so the L is at 0, the E is at 1, the A is at 2, the R 3, the N is at index position 4. So do you think it is going to return this whole word? Or do you think it's going to stop right when it gets to index 4? It's going to stop, but it's not going to include it, right? If I hit run, you see, when it returns Lear. So if I put 5, that's when it now returns the whole word. All right, so that is the slice method. Slice lets you extract a part of a string. Now, keep in mind, you see, the 2 parameters that you pass into the slice method is the start value in terms of the index, the start position. And it's telling you the first character is at index position 0. And you can this is required. You have to pass this in, but the second parameter is optional, right? And this is the end position up to, but not including. That's why the first time I put it at 0, 4, it didn't include the whole word learn. It goes up to 4, but it doesn't include the character at index position 4, right? So if I don't have this, so let's say that I wanted to start slicing at index position 2. How does this work, right? And without passing in an end value, right? Because the default end value, the default is the length of the string. So it's just going to return the rest of the string, and it's going to start wherever you tell it to start and return everything from then on out. All right. So if I come back here and I hit run, you see, because 2, right? 2 starts where, right? The L is at index position 0. The E is at index position 1. The A is at index position 2. That's why it starts at 2. And it basically sliced out everything before that. All right. So slice is a method that you are going to use often with strings and arrays. And I'm going to cover how that works in arrays in a different video. But for right now, as long as you understand how this is working with strings, it'll be pretty straightforward to understand how it works with arrays. All right. Now, the fourth JavaScript string method that you have to know is the split method, the JavaScript string split method. So let me look that up, right? So if I look up JavaScript string split and I go to the W3 schools link, right? So you got to scroll down to the description. The split method returns a string into an array of substrings. And this is very important. The split method returns a new array. It returns a new array. It doesn't change the original string. It doesn't modify it. It just returns a new thing, like a new array with what you want. Now, how do we use it, right? Syntax. Syntax is how we use it. Now, you call dot split on a string and you put the separator. So the separator is you telling the split method where you want the split to happen. Where do you want to split, right? So a string, so yeah, you can pass a string or a regex. And if you don't pass anything here, it's just going to return an array with the original string, right? Because you're basically saying you want to split, but you don't tell it where to split. And you can pass in a limit. This is optional. Matter of fact, both of them are optional, but the majority, 99% of the time that you use the split method, you are going to be telling it where you want it to split. All right. And the return value is an array. So let's go look at how this works, right? So if I call the split method and I tell it to split where 2 is, you see, learn to code, right? I tell it to split where 2 is. If I hit clear and I hit run, this is going to now return learn, right? Because it like splits here, right? So it basically returns this first part and then it returns this second part. That's why I now have an array with just those 2 parts, right? It basically split at 2. It goes to 2 and it breaks off the first part and the second part, right? If I change this to learn, right, it's going to split right here. But a very common use case, though, when you're using the split method is that you split where there's a space. So if I do this, right, so, you know, this is telling it to split where there's a space. If I hit run here, you see that? It basically split everywhere that there was a space. That's why we don't see any more spaces in the return value. Because you see up here, there's a space, right? And you see up here, there's a space. Even here, there's a space. There's a space. But if you split everywhere that there's a space, it just now returns an array with the substrings that are not spaces. So that's how the split method works. And remember, this is a very common method that you're going to use like a lot. So it's very important that you understand how this method works. And now the last and final string, JavaScript string method that you have to know as a beginner. This is not necessarily a method, you know, but it's called string interpolation, right? Or template literals or string interpolation, which is essentially just lets you, you know, put JavaScript code inside of a string. So let's look that up, right? So if I look up JavaScript string interpolation, but I have to sound that out. I can barely pronounce it. String interpolation. And again, remember, that's also called template literals or template strings. You know, string templates, template strings, template literals, blah, blah, blah. So this lets you like run JavaScript code in a string. But the difference is this, right? Like for you to use string interpolation, this is very important. You have to use backticks rather than quotes to define the string. Because you see how back here, I have this like quotation mark here, right? Because that's typically how you define a string. You use quotation marks to define a string. Let me take this off my screen, right? You use quotation marks. But if you want to put JavaScript code in here, let's say that I have let word equals code, right? And I basically remove this part. If I want to put this variable, right, this JavaScript variable, if I want to put it into this string and still have it render, right, and still have it render like learn to code, right, because I'm saving the word code inside of this variable called word right now. This is a JavaScript variable. If I want to put this variable inside of this string so that I can run this code and it still shows up, I can't just do this. I mean, I can do this, right? So if I do, you know, right, like I can do that in terms of using the like plus sign, because the plus sign would just, you know, add the string to the other string, right? It'll just combine the strings. But if you don't want to use the plus sign, and this really isn't the most elegant solution, right? The elegant solution is to use string interpolation, right? So the like syntax is $, curly braces, and then you put whatever JavaScript variable that you want, right? So you see like this, right? When they have this variable called first name set to John, last name set to Doe, and then they have another variable text that you see it is using backticks. Now, if you don't know where to find backticks on your keyboard, it is above the like tab button. It's this right here. This right here. This is how you get backticks. Okay. So you do backticks and then you put a $, curly braces, and then you put the actual variable that you want to run in the code, right? So if I go back here and I'm gonna change this to backticks, right? So this is now backticks, and then I put this $ and this word. So now when I hit run, boom, it works. You see, like this is code here. So I can put 2 plus 2, learn to 4, right? Like you can execute JavaScript code inside of these template literals, right? Like as long as you have the backticks, your $, and your curly braces, you can write JavaScript code inside of here. All right. Boom. And that's it. Like those are the 5 JavaScript string methods that if you know these methods, like these are the most common JavaScript methods that you will find yourself using often as a programmer, right? So just in terms of you understanding the like basics of how to work with strings in JavaScript, or, you know, strings in JavaScript, these are the 5 common methods that you have to know. And, you know, check again in the description of this video for all of the, you know, extra resources like coding tutorials, practice problems, and even free practice projects that I have. Check the description below and make sure that you grab that, because all of that is going to help you to actually start learning how to build basic websites and understanding how to write JavaScript code. All right. So comment below on this video if you found this video helpful as well. Thank you.